Preludio de Adios by Alfonso Montes struck me the first time that I heard it by its intense feelings, that intense melancholy that is expressed in this piece. We all know what an adios in Afar well could mean by losing a person, a situation, having to change definitely country. And I was very curious to know more about this piece, so I wrote to Maestro Montes if he could explain the situation in which he composed the piece, as it inserted in a suite which is entitled Desde Lejos, from Afar. I had an idea actually what that could mean. Anyway, I preferred to ask the composer, and that's what he answered. In 2000, I realized that my country, Venezuela, had transformed from a democracy to a military dictatorship. Together with my family, we made the painful decision to leave Venezuela. First, my wife and children traveled to Stuttgart in Germany, and I traveled months after organizing the move. I took the family to the airport, and when I returned to the apartment and found myself alone in the now empty rooms, I picked up the guitar and began improvising what later became El Preludio de Adios. Let's see in the music how that is expressed, because to my opinion it's expressed very masterfully. The intro. It contains, marked by accents, this little chromatic line. Which in classical music is a passus duriusculus, which expresses pain and death as well. I already talked about that in this video on Lacrima by Francisco Tárrega. In a prelude for guitar, we would very much expect chord arpeggios, and the intro already had that. Now, in the A part with the melody, we still have an arpeggio as accompaniment. And there is a suffering note in, which is C and B, a minor second, which is, since the times of the Renaissance, an interval of suffering. Even in this chord we have a second. It's a major second this time. But it brings dissonance in the very sweet melody. Another very, very nice point is that the melody of the first part finishes quite unresolved in bar 9. The G and then nothing. Montes expressively puts rests in. There is no soprano voice, there's no continuation. So, to my opinion, we should point out the F sharp and the dissonance created by it, and let the E ring out very within the arpeggio, but not as a melody note. It's on the first string, open, so we have to be very careful. In the next little section, one point of interest is this little melody. Because the first time it brings us to this, which is a musical sighing. And the second time it's again discontinued, because the A, which could melodically resolve the melody, this A is put again in the accompaniment, so it's not a continuation of that melody. So to my opinion, the melody here is discontinued. In the second ending of the first part, we have again this little motive. But this time it's continued, and it's continued very clearly by the same B again, and then ascending to C sharp, which is the major third in the A major part. Here we get a more positive, a lighter, a brighter feeling, some kind of hope coming into the music. Here the hope is rising. lot of light coming into the music, finishing in this chord. In this point, we still have the impression to be in A major, in the lighter tonality. But actually, the chord that is playing is a C sharp minor 7. So we have a minor chord in a major feeling, followed by a major chord. This is C major. It should be lighter, but actually our impression is the contrary. We feel the total change of tonality due to the root is the minor third in A. So we still are feeling A as our root tone, and the C sharp expresses major. Meanwhile, the C natural, even if the chord is a major chord, expresses the change to minor. This is a very nice contradiction of two different contrasting sentiments in just 2 bars and 2 chords. I love that. After that, we return in A minor with melody that we already had, which is leading again with this motive to major. But here are 2 important differences. In the first case, we had the switch to major by an ascending line, as if we put ourselves up to a better, brighter feeling and emotion. In the second time, we are in major again, but this time the melody is descending. And this descending melody, I already told you before, is an expression of sighing. So there is a sighing within the brighter major feeling. Again, this dichotomy of 2 contrasting feelings. The second important difference is that the first time A major has been changed in the key signature. So the composer puts the 3 sharps as if to say, I really want to change here. I really want to change my mood in a more positive thinking. But in this part, where the second time we go to A major, in the original score there is no change of key signature. All the accidentals, all the sharps are put in the music directly, as if to say, I would love to have hope. But actually, well, in this very situation, my hope is fading. You could put this kind of sentiment in your interpretation at that point. Once again, turned in A minor, this little motive is changed very, very little. But anyway, the intenseness of this new motive is higher because this is going down. Here we have more suffering going up. The suggested fingering by Irina Kircher makes it sounding in a Segovia way of playing. So it suggests very sul tasto, very warm and dolce. I personally do like very much playing it in the first position with open strings. Well, just as to express more despair. Maybe this is a very European or German point of view and not really a Venezuelan. At the end of this last A minor part, we get a melodical solution of this little motive. As we go to the root. But the context is a deceptive cadence. So we are not going to A minor, as could be expected. But to F major 7. Deceptive cadence, we are not coming home really. And so does the following chord. No resolution. And that is the point where the intro is repeated to the outro, formally speaking. But emotionally speaking, it's expressing that all that hope, all that positive feeling that I had anyway don't change, that it's so sad to leave. What a perfect ending for a piece of farewell. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like the analysis, just subscribe to my newsletter. You could get the PDF of the analysis of the piece. See you next time. Bye.